Y'all, last year Bank of America was slashing and closing credit cards, and now Wells Fargo is closing personal lines of credit without warning. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can prepare your credit for something like this. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm Tasha from the Major Change Group, where we believe small changes can create big results. And if this is your first time on the channel, welcome. We talk about credit, budgeting, and student loans. So many of you probably have heard that Wells Fargo sent out some letters and announced that they're going to be closing personal lines of credit and was giving people 60 days notice. But also in the letter, they were stating that, well, possibly this could impact your credit, but they don't know how it's going to impact your credit. And y'all know last year, Bank of America, and then I want to say earlier this year, Bank of America closed two, not one, but two of my credit cards. And in this video, we're going to talk about how does this impact your credit and how you can prepare for something like this. Drop down in the comments and let me know, have you been impacted by something like this? Have you had a credit card closed, or were you impacted with this Wells Fargo, with them closing the personal lines of credit? Let me know in the comments. Now, I know that this can definitely be frustrating because especially like for me, the two credit cards that I had, I did not even have a balance on the credit cards. And when I had the credit cards, I would say like several years ago, probably in like 2014, Bank of America had, well, they didn't close the credit card, but they had decreased my credit limit. So we know that all those types of things could impact your credit utilization. And just think with your Wells Fargo line of credit or any credit that you could have, let's say you're making the payments on time, you're keeping your utilization low, and then they just pull the rug up under you and take the credit away. It's just like, that is not fair. Now, I can say with them giving people a 60-day notice and allowing them to prepare themselves and make other arrangements is really good compared to Bank of America. They just closed the credit card. I'm like, what is going on? And I had no idea. And just think, what if I had a balance on that credit card? Because one of the credit cards, I want to say it was like $15,000. And like I said, maybe like in 2014, I might have had a balance of like $4,000 on it. And then they cut to the $4,000, so they took away all that available credit, and so that made me go from maybe a low credit utilization to 100% utilization. So it's just not fair for them to do these kind of things. But as we see, like I said, last year, especially when we were at the height of the pandemic, they were really taking a look at especially unsecured credit. Because they're just trying to see, okay, how are you using credit and things like that. And that happens where credit card companies, banks, and stuff like that, where they are taking a look at, the unsecured credit and seeing, okay, because with the unsecured, they're not guaranteed necessarily to get that money back. You can file bankruptcy on that compared to other stuff. So in this video, we're going to talk about some things to think about with your credit. So the first thing that we want to do, we want to take a look at the credit score, and it's made up of 5 different components. So first you have your payment history, which is 35%, your credit utilization, which is 30%, your length of credit, which is 15%, and then you have your new and your credit mix, which is 10%. Each of those are 10%. So going back to the example that I used early, thinking about your credit utilization, which is 30%. So that could be huge. Like let's say you have a credit card and it's $10,000 and you only have a $3,000 balance. So that's what? 30% credit utilization. And with your credit utilization, you want to keep it at 30% or lower. But I would say the lower, the better. It depends on what kind of area you're in with your credit, but the lower, the better. And also with your credit utilization, you can look at it for each credit card that you have or line of credit that you have, or you can look at it as a whole. So specifically for the example of the $10,000 credit card, it's $10,000 but you owe $3,000. So that gives you a 30% credit utilization. But if the banks are slashing that and then they take away the 7,000 available credit, then that's going to take you from a 30% credit utilization to 100% credit utilization. And that's not what we want to happen. So the first thing that you want to do is pull your credit. Now you can go on to your annual credit report, and typically you can only usually pull your credit report once a year, but now from now until April 2022, you can pull your credit report weekly. Now I would suggest pulling your credit report monthly because your creditors report monthly. And by you pulling your credit report, this is going to give you an idea, okay, what all creditors are reporting to my credit report. And then 2, what is my standing with those creditors? And then 3, how much do you owe? Now you can always go into your individual accounts and see how much you owe that way, but it's always good to see what it's reporting on your credit report. Number 2, you want to pay down your high interest debts. Now this could be doing the debt snowball, or this could be doing the debt avalanche. And so what you want to do is take a piece of paper and list all of your debts, and then you can categorize it by either the highest to the lowest, either with the amount or the interest rate. Now, you can always consider doing a balance transfer. Balance transfers are really good to do because it helps you to be able to take those high interest debts that you have, move it to a 0% interest credit card, and pay it down to where you're paying more on the principal opposed to the interest rate. Now, a few credit cards to think about when doing the balance transfer: you have the Discover It, you have the Citi Rewards. I have the Thank You Rewards, and they have been sending me information to do balance transfers. You can either do the Navy Federal Go Rewards or the Platinum Credit Card, because right now for the Platinum Credit Card, they have to where you can balance transfer, I want to say the first month that you're with them. So it's only a month window, but it's a 12-month no interest, and there's no balance transfer fees. So you always want to take a look at those things when you're doing balance transfers. But I think it's a really good way to pay down debt. That is how I paid my debt down, because I always tried to keep it on a 0% credit card while I was paying it down, so that you can put all the money towards the principal and not be paying interest on it. Number 3, create a budget. Now, you're going to say, create a budget, and we're talking about credit cards. Well, if you are paying down your debt, you always want to do your budget so you can see how much money you have coming in compared to how much you have going out, and then to see how much do I have left over to where I can put it towards my debt. And so that way you can pay your debt down a lot faster, and then it can help you diagnose, okay, do I need to make more money? Do I need a side hustle? Do I make enough money? But I need to kind of see, okay, where's my money going? Am I shopping a lot? Am I, just eating out a lot? Like me, that's usually what I'm spending my money on. What are you doing with your money that maybe you can cut back just for a small amount of time? Small changes can create big results. And it's not necessarily that you have to just cut back for so long, but if you create a plan, typically you can only do it for a short amount of time until you get to the goal that you want to do. Also, you can drop down in the description and I have my free budget and debt repayment template, or you can always go over to my Etsy shop and get my 2021 digital budget planner on my Etsy shop. And that's typically what I use to do my budget every month. Number 4, you want to save for a rainy day. Create your rainy day fund. And so you can start wherever you need to start. If you need to start with $500, $1,000, I just finished saving $5,000. Or you want to save 3 to 6 months of your expenses, so that when something like this happened, let's say you had one of those credit lines and then they said that in 60 days they're going to close it, then maybe you can use that money to go ahead and pay it off because you have that money saved up. So having that rainy day fund definitely helps you out in those situations. Also, let me know in the comments, are you a person that pays debt off opposed to savings? Because you know how Dave Ramsey has his baby steps, and he says, okay, save $1,000, and then all of the money that you have, goes towards your debt. And that's typically how I am, because I'm naturally not a saver. And so for me to be able to finish the Major Change Group 26-week $5,000 savings challenge, that was pretty big for me, you guys. But start where you can, because in 2020 I was just kind of doing like the little smaller savings challenges, and then for 2021 I said I want to go a little bit bigger and do the savings challenge. But I am paying off my car, so I have that video coming out really soon. I would say during these next couple of months, we really want to try to get our financial foundation strong, because we don't know, like, are we going through a credit freeze? Are they going to be, taking credit? Because we already know, even from last year, they were cutting credit cards, slashing credit limits. And so you really don't know what they're going to do, because, you kind of thought that the economy was kind of moving up. But with them doing this, we never know what's kind of around the corner, but we always want to be prepared. So by creating a budget, having us a savings plan, paying down our high interest debt, making sure that we're paying our bills on time, keeping our credit utilization under 30% or lower, those kind of things are going to help us to create a solid foundation. And also paying the credit cards off every month, because even if you're using the credit cards, use it like your debit card, and then that way, maybe if you have a balance, you can transfer it to a 0% interest credit card, and then use the credit card like your debit card. But drop down in the comments and let me know, what are your thoughts on this situation? Do you think we're headed into a credit freeze? And if you're part of Navy Federal, do you see Navy Federal cutting back on their credit limits or anything? Or do you just see other banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo? Do you think it's an isolated thing? Well, I hope that you have found this helpful. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and turn your notification bell on so you will be the first to be notified when new content comes out. And I thank you so much for watching. Until next time. It's not a game.